All right, guys, welcome in here, Slaughterhouse Sports. We're going to tee up, at least probably 3 or 4 videos, so be on the lookout for that today. Hope everybody's having a great August. Really excited. We are now 2 weeks out until the start of the season, college football, and, honestly, week 0, I'm not too enthusiastic about that. The game in Ireland, to tell you the truth, between Florida State and Georgia Tech, probably not even going to do a video on it. It's a shame. It's one of the best games in the ACC, and maybe it'll bring notoriety to the ACC. But at the same time, I kind of like everybody starting their season, on that Thursday of the week of August 31st. But today, I've been meaning to do this video for a while. I'm going to talk about all the SEC offenses, all the SEC quarterbacks specifically, and what I'm kind of expecting, from each quarterback. And I'm going to rank the quarterbacks in the SEC, and I'm going to do that right now. So, when we look at the quarterbacks, first we have Vanderbilt's quarterback at number 16 overall. It's a battle between Nate Johnson and Diego Pavilla. So Pavilla was a quarterback, or Pavia was a quarterback at New Mexico State. He, is somebody that, from watching from afar, not only did he win a lot of games with Jerry Kill, but this is a quarterback that would also be very eccentric on the field, would kind of jaw at the opponents, and I kind of like it. And Vanderbilt needs edge there, of course, and it's tough because Clark Lea was the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame. He's from Nashville. I think he went to Vanderbilt, so he wanted to come back to Vanderbilt, and I actually think he can be a pretty decent coach. I just think that with the talent, the SEC probably being the best league in college football, it just hasn't caught on. And I've kind of liked the hires that he's tried to make. Specifically Barton Simmons came over from 24/7 to try to be the general manager there at Vanderbilt. They've tried a lot of things to jumpstart that offense. Ken Seals, and then they would, have a mobile quarterback there, and it just. It just didn't work out. It just has never really worked at Vanderbilt. So, but overall, if you were to place Vanderbilt actually like in the ACC, or you were going to place them in the Big Ten, I think that Vanderbilt would actually have a chance at beating a school like Rutgers. I think that Vanderbilt, they're going to have chances in out-of-conference play, and if they were in the Big Ten West, they would be right up there maybe with a Northwestern, but we think of Northwestern in a completely different light than a Vanderbilt. So that's kind of my piece on Vanderbilt. I kind of have Diego ranked right up there. I have him ranked 16th overall. So then it gets really tight for the list for the 15th overall selection. So, hovering around the spot, we have Blake Shapen, Brock Vandergriff, and I'm going to put Jackson Arnold on this list, actually. And it's tough. I've went back and forth on this overall, but I'm going to... I really liked what I saw from Blake Shapen actually at the spring game, so I'm going to put Brock Vandergriff here. Now, Vandergriff's actually been surprisingly good, like at least on just highlight tapes or what they put out of Kentucky. Guy is a 5-star quarterback, but he played at a smaller school. I always thought the arm strength was just okay. In terms of mobility, it's fine. Does he have elite traits at quarterback? That's going to be the question. I'm excited kind of what Boise State offensive coordinator Bush Hamden's, he's coming in now to the fold. I'm curious to see what he's going to do with this Kentucky offense. So overall, it's a complete unknown. It's not like Brock Vandergriff is even what Devin Leary was last year. Devin Leary, kind of had average arm strength, but he was was very, very effective at NC State and had a pretty solid career. But when he got to the SEC, you didn't really see that upside. I'm curious about the weapons that they have at Kentucky, and also it's going to be interesting with Bush Hamden. But overall, Brock Vandergriff as being, the 15th overall quarterback in the SEC is going to be pretty wild. So this list is, I would say from 15 to 11, the quarterbacks that I'm going to list here are very interchangeable in the SEC. But the coordinators and everything, you're going to just see how unbelievable this quarterback class in the SEC is. So at number 14, this is going to be very surprising. But again, this is my list. And again, so I'm going to put Jackson Arnold here at number 14 overall, because I look at Seth Luttrell, and I think that Luttrell is a pretty decent offensive coordinator. I think that Lebby coming from Ole Miss is better. Their offensive line has real problems. Now, they do have a great transfer wide receiver there at Oklahoma that has been, generating tremendous reviews. And, I think that the transfer wide receiver, he's actually from Purdue. A real speedster. Like, you remember Rondale Moore, how great he was at Purdue. Aiden O'Connell had, some really good tight ends and people to throw to at Purdue. But this was like, I think, Jack Plummer, way back in the day before he was the quarterback at Louisville and Arizona State. Like, Jack Plummer almost played as long as Jake Plummer. But when we look at Oklahoma, and I'm going to get the name of this receiver that they have, that's a new receiver, their offensive line is a real question mark of this unit. I think they have an incredibly tough schedule. Overall, their defense is something that I think is very impressive, the way that they've gone out and recruited with Brent Venables. So overall, it's going to be, is it going to be an intriguing season? You bet. But I have question marks about this offensive line, and I also have question marks about Arnold a little bit in terms of protecting the ball. He's not the tallest guy in the world. Out of high school, I kind of projected him as like a 4-star quarterback, like a Bryce Petty, who could eventually be very good. But at Elite 11, he balled out, and he was, I think, maybe the number 1 quarterback, or he was an absolute 5-star lock at quarterback, according to evaluators. So, overall, it's Deion Burks. I think that he's, poised to have a pretty big year. But just looking at, their wide receivers, is Nick Anderson going to be their taller wide receiver that they're going to throw it out to? It's just going to be interesting to see, I guess. And this offensive line, has a lot of transfer pieces here, and what's going to happen, with Jackson Arnold in this offense. Moving on. Blake Shapen, I'm going to put as the 13th overall quarterback. It was tough. It was between him and Connor Weigman. Blake Shapen he really has upside, because in this offense, they're kind of letting him cut it loose. This is a guy who could put touch on the deep ball. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have the strongest arm. But with Jeff Lebby, the offenses everywhere are incredibly explosive. They put up tons and tons of points. This defense could be an utter sieve on defense. I'm just going to call it how it is. I just think that Mississippi State could be playing a lot of track meets, and you could have Blake Shapen put up a ton of numbers here this year. Is it going to end up winning games or not? I'm excited to watch Mississippi State. It's a fun brand of football for the SEC. It's kind of like what they're trying to do with Tennessee. I think they're going to go tempo. They're going to take shots. It's going to be a show, as Jeff Lebby would say. And for Mississippi State, they still are, they have Arnett players, they have Mike Leach players, and it's just at Mississippi State, it could be a very tough rebuild. I don't want to see them, be Vanderbilt, but, in the state of Mississippi, they have more resources than Vanderbilt, and I think that they can recruit. The state of Mississippi has so much talent. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to watch the offensive side of the ball. Shapen at Baylor was a decent quarterback, but he might even have more weapons at Mississippi State. And then Jeff Lebby in that offense, it could be really, really fun. So Blake Shapen, I think, could have a pretty solid year. Then we look at Connor Weigman. This was a quarterback that was finding his footing a little bit last year, a 5-star quarterback out of high school, not the biggest guy in the world. But, again, you have decent weapons out at Texas A&M. They do lose Evan Stewart to Oregon. But Colin Klein, one of my favorite offensive coordinators to watch. I mean, what he did, with Will Howard at quarterback, what he was able to do with Adrian Martinez. So Colin Klein, a real rising star in college football. So love the offensive coordinator. So you're talking about at 12 and 13. This is, I'm going to say it, the best year of offensive coordinators that I think the SEC has ever had. The best crop of offensive coordinators and also the best quarterbacks. We're talking about Weigman, Blake Shapen played at Baylor, Jackson Arnold's a 5-star, Brock Vandergriff. So these are all really highly touted recruits at quarterback. A lot of transfers that are here, that are in this market here for quarterback, and that's why I think that this could be the best year of offense that we're going to see. Really in SEC ball, I think we're going to see just a ton of points. I know that the clock is going to be moving, and that's not good for points. Like, I don't like how the clock is moving constantly. I want the clock to stop at first down. I want to watch football for 4 hours. I wait all year. We wait 10 months of the year to watch college football, or 9 months. And it's kind of ridiculous that, we have to, constantly speed up the game just to get to commercial breaks. So, number 11 at quarterback, I'm really excited about this quarterback. And that is Sellers at South Carolina. I think it's Ja'Cory Sellers at South Carolina. This is a quarterback that's a high 4-star quarterback. This is somebody that Lenore Sellers that really rose up the boards late in the recruiting process. I think he's out of the state of North Carolina. This is somebody that has a lot of physical tools and gifts. This is an NFL quarterback in terms of talent, 6'4" quarterback. Considered a great leader, somebody that was generating buzz even last year with Spencer Rattler still on the team at quarterback. And then he also has a coordinator that could even be better at the college level. Dowell Loggins, somebody who was from Arkansas, who was the tight ends coach, I believe, at Arkansas, and now he is he's the offensive coordinator for a second year at South Carolina. So I think that you look at he's very qualified in terms of his experiences. Is he going to be a great offensive coordinator? He wasn't that awesome in the NFL with Adam Gase, but you consider his experiences and he could recover and be great at the college level, Dowell Loggins. But Lenore Sellers, just love the talent, love the leadership, love the personality, love the kid. Love the leadership and intangible aspects of Lenore Sellers. I think he has superstar written all over him. I'm excited to see, again, it's South Carolina. They're playing in the SEC, the toughest league now in college football in the world. Number 10, overall, I'm going to put Graham Mertz, and he has a huge game week 1 against Miami. He's going to have a lot of, monumental games when we look at the schedule. Graham Mertz, and again, I love the offensive coordinator. I love Billy Napier. I mean, guys were running wide open last year. They utilized motion, number 1 in college football. Somebody who was a tremendous head coach at I believe it was Louisiana. Yeah, University of Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns. So Billy Napier, big year, but Graham Mertz really responded from his time at Wisconsin. This is somebody that's extremely accurate, somebody that's mobile, someone who has really good footwork and great form, somebody who would fought out of Overland, Kansas when he got up to Wisconsin. Could we be looking at a Drew Brees-style quarterback? I think that Graham Mertz Think he might have 2 more years of eligibility left, maybe with the COVID year. I want every college player to be in college football for 5 years. I've said that. But Graham Mertz at quarterback, man. If he stays in college maybe this year and another year, he's going to be a third or fourth round quarterback. He's exactly what Sean Clifford can be like, maybe even better. So I think that you look at Graham Mertz, and if he stayed in college 2 more years, he might even be drafted in the third or the second round. You know, you look at Kenny Pickett and what he was able to accomplish at Pittsburgh, and Graham Mertz has the equivalent amount of talent, very smart, good leader, and this is somebody that in this offense I'm really excited to watch. Number 9 overall, people are going to think that this is very low on this list, but I'm going to put Brady Cook here at number 9. Really good quarterback, has Luther Burden. I wanted Missouri to be tested with their schedule. I think that they're also going to lose out on Schrader. Very good offensive scheme here. Eli Drinkowitz, I got to give him credit. He's proven me wrong. I did not think that he would be very good at Missouri. And he's put up some really good results the last couple of years. And then you have Kellen Moore's brother, Kip Moore, who's the offensive coordinator, who's also a rising star there. So Brady Cook wins. You know, I guess on this list, it's just there's so many other unbelievable quarterbacks on this list that I think Brady Cook is a solid quarterback who's won. But again, in terms of physical traits, like not in love with the physical traits. I think that there's a couple of quarterbacks down here on the list that have much higher physical traits than Brady Cook. But if Brady Cook is accurate, if Brady Cook shines, it's college football, and we're going to see, you know, how great Brady Cook can be. Because if we were doing this based on last year, he unequivocally would be probably a top 4 SEC quarterback. But again, I just think the talent coming in here is immense. Number 8, I'm putting Jackson Dart. Think he's a talented quarterback, very mobile, has decent arm strength. This is somebody that is getting some NFL buzz, but I see him more as a 4th-round quarterback. I don't think that there's the biggest difference. I even think that Graham Mertz might even have more talent than Jackson Arnold, as crazy as that sounds. But really, we look at Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin, surrounded by the wide receivers that Ole Miss has. Ole Miss, big talent. Their defense with Pete Golding's going to be pretty dang good, and they've been very consistent up there. So very similar to Brady Cook is Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's a good leader. Jackson Dart has very good movement skills. He is very mobile. The arm strength is decent, I would say, and very good for the college level. So we're talking college football, not the NFL, because both Cook and Dart, again, I believe it's kind of a shame no matter how great they're going to be in college, if they're going to translate to the pros, it's probably going to be a 3rd or 4th round at max, just being honest about these guys. Number 7 on this list, this is where a lot of people are going to have issues with this list. I'm putting a quarterback who struggled mightily last year at number 7 overall. I'm putting Payton Thorne. I love Cam Coleman, freshman wide receiver. They also were able to get a Penn State transfer wide receiver. They were able to take Penn State's best wide receiver. So when you look at Auburn's weapons, they're tremendous. When you look at Payton Thorne, I mean, Payton Thorne is the son of a coach. Payton Thorne's dad was a coach. Again, people will scoff at that, but Payton Thorne, too, in year 1 at Michigan State was terrific when he had Keon Coleman on the outside. Last year in the Iron Bowl, he played very well in the Iron Bowl against Georgia. He kept that a really close game. He's run for 100 yards in several games. This is somebody that's an accurate quarterback. He doesn't have the biggest arm, but again, they are going right now in year 1 with Hugh Freeze. It was a big kind of, you know, I'm just going to say it. They needed to reshuffle the talent, and it is kind of a retooling roster. And they also brought in Scotty Montgomery, and he didn't exactly connect with Hugh Freeze's vision for offense. There was a lot of confusion there at Auburn. And Scotty Montgomery is a decent offensive coordinator from Tulsa. He's probably still personal friends with Hugh Freeze and those guys. But again, now Hugh Freeze is going to get back to calling the offense. Now you have Derek Nix, who is a longtime assistant of Hugh Freeze that is coaching quarterback there. It's finally going to be the Hugh Freeze offense. Finally, Payton Thorne's going to hear one voice. And this is somebody that, again, you look at Jaden Daniels or even when you look at a Joe Burrow, and I'm not saying that Payton Thorne can win a Heisman Trophy, but you can expect a huge leap for Payton Thorne because he's been playing football for a very long time. He's accumulated a lot of starts, and Auburn fans are going to know about the success of Bo Nix at quarterback. And Bo Nix, when you play a lot of football, when you go through fall camp like 4 or 5 times, when you're the quarterback like day one at a Big Ten program like Michigan State, when you have to go play Michigan and you beat Michigan, when you play Ohio State, when you're going on the road and you're playing Penn State, and now last year at Auburn in the SEC, I think that Payton Thorne now has a grasp of the offense, and I'm really excited for Payton Thorne. I think we could see a massive leap. So Payton Thorne is going to be the quarterback that, again, I'm going to buy higher on than just about everybody on this list, okay? So we look at the wide receivers real quick at Auburn. Keandre Lambert-Smith. Robert Lewis is somebody at Georgia State that was a really, really good offense. That was a really good wide receiver who's played a ton of football. And then Cam Coleman is a star. Perry Thompson, okay, star. Sam Jackson, quarterback at Cal, best friend to Payton Thorne. Okay, Bryce Kane, an absolute speedster, I think, out of the state of Mississippi. Love this offense. Then we're going to get to, I'm going to put at number 6, Nico Iamaleava. Okay, really good offensive mind. And Josh Heupel, again, this is probably the best collective of offensive minds that the SEC has ever seen at one time, between coordinators that are going to get hired as head coaches and quarterback play, wide receiver play. Every quarterback, if they stay healthy, can be explosive and can be very good. The upside is immense for every quarterback on this list. So it's hard to go wrong when you're picking this list. I'm going to put Nico here. I think that Nico is going to have a big year, immensely talented, great wide receiver play. So I'm putting Nico here at number 6 overall. Number 5 overall, I'm going to put, it's tough, the last 5 on this list, but I am going to put here, all right, I'm going to put Nussmeier here, LSU. Now, I think he could be number 3 on this list overall, so I'll actually go at number 5. I will go Quinn Ewers. I think that Ewers, really decent talent at quarterback. People think he's an unbelievable talent. Don't think he's that mobile. His arm strength is pretty damn good, but I don't know if it's elite. Now, against Alabama, he was very special, but they lose Xavier Worthy. They lose Adonai Mitchell. They're losing both of their running backs to injury. Texas is in for a tough year, I think, like a year where they lose about 4 games, possibly out of the playoff picture. I'm putting Ewers at number 5. At number 4, I'm also putting Carson Beck. I'm putting the top 2 quarterbacks by most accounts. I'm putting them 5 and 4 on this list. I think that when you look at Carson Beck at quarterback, he is very talented, accurate, has good arm strength, probably a first-round pick. Mobility is fine, but he's losing his best player in Brock Bowers. The defensive line of Georgia is not that great. They still have to go to Ole Miss. They have to go to Texas. They have a very tough road schedule. They're playing Alabama. And I don't know if I see the Carson Beck beating Alabama. Oh, so number 3 on this list, I'm putting Garrett Nussmeier. Again, with Carson Beck, I think he'll have a really good year, but I think that Georgia's going to lose some games. And I think that he is getting overrated in SEC hierarchy of quarterback. I do. He's not number 1 or number 2. He's more towards 5, more towards 4 on this list. Somebody who's getting underrated is Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier is somebody who's waited his turn, kind of in the Mac Jones mold, something that is becoming unusual in college football of people transferring. Joe Sloan, I think, will do a decent job. I love the wide receiver still at LSU. Like, Lacey's a very good wide receiver. Now, I know that Brock Bowers left, so you could say that Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas left, and that is accurate, but I believe that the wide receiver play at LSU, they fill the position better. The offensive line, too, at LSU is going to be better than Georgia's. I mean, you have Will Campbell, who is living up to his billing as a 5-star, the Monroe Mauler from Monroe, Louisiana. And then you also have Emory Jones, who is also playing great football. So you have bookends at the tackles positions. That Ed Orgeron last class and Brian Kelly's first class at LSU, I guess it was the 2021 recruiting class, was just that good. Then I'm just going, since I've put Nussmeier at number 3, number 2, I'm going to say Jalen Milroe. I think that Milroe can win the Heisman. He could be that good at quarterback. He has great weaponry, and I think he's mobile. I think he could really play quarterback. I think that you're seeing a guy who could possibly be an NFL quarterback in terms of, mobility, in terms of arm strength. This is somebody that is going to get accurate. Even more accurate. This offensive, Tommy Rees was a really good offensive coordinator, not in terms of head coach, but offensive coordinator with Sheridan, and now with a play caller in Kalen DeBoer. This offense can be absolutely electric. Number 1, I'm going to put Taylon Green. Bobby Petrino, Taylon Green, most mobile quarterback in the SEC, superstar potential, 6'5", tallest quarterback. This is somebody that can be in the mold of a Vince Young, and I just think that Taylon Green, this Arkansas offense, it could absolutely pop and explode. So I'm going to put Taylon Green number 1. I know that that's going to be definitely crazy or outside of the box thinking, but again, we're going to see if Taylon Green can have a Johnny Manziel season and come out of nowhere and be the best. So tell me what y'all think about this list. Tell me what you guys think about this thought process. I already could see the comments going crazy about it, but again, gosh, this ended up being a really long video. But again, the SEC is addicting to talk about, and SEC quarterback play in general is so much fun to talk about. So that's that. Thank you, guys.